Beauty is defined by society, so different times, different uh, groups, different ages have defined beauty differently.
I think beauty can be two different things. It can be that innocent, just natural beauty, and it can also be that made up, get your hair done, wedding dress, prom dress.
Beauty is accepting yourself and loving yourself for who you are, and being confident and comfortable in your own skin, and not letting other people tell you who to be, and just accepting yourself.
Beauty is when you look around and you see everything that God has created, and to me that is beauty. Not just nature, but all the people the Lord has created, and everyone is different, and that's what makes life so interesting.
As I've gotten older, you start to look past that facade of beauty on the surface, and you start to see beauty that goes deeper. You see that, the whole people have scars and maybe hardships in their lives, but there's still beauty that they see in life, or the attitude of beauty, or the way they perceive life.
I think what makes something beautiful is that people like the way it looks, and maybe that changes over time. I mean, you look at some paintings and people say, oh, these paintings, it's so wonderful, and sometimes you look at them and maybe for the time period it was a wonderful, beautiful thing, but maybe today it's not, and maybe it still does. Maybe it holds up, but it's all defined by what society and where we are in that time period.
I personally see beauty through like fashion and style, just your own personal style. Every person dresses differently, and I think that's just a really good way to express yourself. And if you wear the clothes that you feel beautiful in, then you feel comfortable in your own skin and you feel confident. So I think it's a really great way to get people to understand you without even talking to you.
How do I see beauty? Well, I would start with when a baby is born. They're just absolutely gorgeous, and it's a miracle, and you see beauty in that. Now, other things that I enjoy myself are the sunsets, because only God can make a sunrise or a sunset.
What we see as beautiful today might look ridiculous 20 years from now, just like some of the hairstyles and clothing from the 60s and 70s and even the 80s. You go back and you watch movies from the 80s, and what we thought was very stylish and popular now looks kind of funny. It probably will be that way 20, 30 years from now, and what we think is beautiful.
When you look at old pictures, like I guess I'm thinking my parents' wedding pictures, and some of them, they were just taken in the living rooms. They got married in the living room because they didn't have a lot of money, and they got out their best suit. The ladies got their best dress suit, and that's what they wore, and men just got a suit, and it was just a very simple thing, and they did their hair the best they could. And I teach high school, and now prom is like a big deal. We have no sports on that prom date because they have to be made up, and the girls talk about their tanning appointments, and their nails are being done, and their pedicures, and the amount of money they spend on dresses for prom. And occasionally you'll have some people that'll do the whole limousine thing or the fancy car. And so I think that beauty has really swung from being just something that inner beauty that you just created with what you had, to that very made up beauty.
I think when I was young, we saw beauty in just very simple things. We didn't have a lot of toys, but what we did have, a lot of them were just handmade toys. We took paper towel rolls and made games out of them and toys to play with to entertain ourselves. But I think as the generations today, it seems to me like people are more materialistic minded, and they do a lot of shopping, and that seems to bring, I think those are the things that they think are beautiful when they go shopping, and they are to a degree. But when you look at life, I think it's just great to kind of keep life a little more simple and just look around at what God has given you to enjoy, and enjoy those beauties instead of all the materialistic things that people want to, that they think will make them happy.
Beauty has changed in the past generations because I don't think it was always accepted to be an individual. People tried really hard to be accepted by other people. They try to be in cliques and different groups and try to find people like themselves, but now other people have to learn to accept you for who you are, because individuality is so important now, and everyone's different, and I think that's beautiful.
Today, it's different than it was 100 years ago, or 200 years ago, or 500 years ago, and how people view beauty.
You look around and you see all these different people and how God has created each one unique with their own talents, specialties, looks, and its beauty in the eye of the Lord.